Captain Michael Torres eased into seat 120F, straightening the collar of his olive green jacket while his 8-year-old son, David, fastened his seatbelt beside him. The afternoon flight from Denver to Atlanta was full. Families returning home from Thanksgiving mingled with tired business travelers scrolling through their phones. Michael leaned back, running a hand through his dark hair. Even after 6 months, the weight of his choice lingered. Leaving the Air Force after 15 dedicated years hadn't been simple. But some duties go beyond the uniform. Since Maria, his wife, had passed away 2 years earlier, father and son had been each other's entire world. David needed more than bedtime video calls from distant bases. He needed his father home for real this time. Before we continue, if stories of courage, kindness, and quiet strength inspire you, make sure to follow Keenness Treasury. Every story here reminds us that heroes often walk among us, unseen. Dad, look at those jets, David said eagerly, pressing his small face to the airplane window as they rolled past a distant lineup of sleek, gray fighters. Michael smiled, recognizing the familiar silhouette. Those are F-22 Raptors, buddy. The most advanced fighter jets out there. Across the aisle, a woman looked up from her laptop. She appeared to be in her late 30s, blonde hair tied neatly, a navy blazer, and the curious eyes of someone who noticed details others missed. "Excuse me," she began with a friendly tone. "I couldn't help overhearing. You seem to know quite a bit about aircraft." Michael nodded humbly. "A little. I've spent some time around them." She smiled and extended her hand. "Sarah Coleman, journalist. Aviation Weekly. I'm working on a feature about modern fighter pilots. Do you mind if I ask your connection to the Air Force?" Before Michael could reply, David beamed with pride. "My dad was a pilot!" He flew those fast planes, the really cool ones. Michael chuckled softly, resting a hand on his son's shoulder. "David, remember what we talked about. Don't bother people when they're busy." "Oh, he's not bothering me at all," Sarah said warmly. "A pilot, that's incredible. What did you fly?" "Mostly F-22s. Michael replied quietly. His voice carried the calm assurance of a man who danced with the sky and lived to tell the tale. Sarah's eyes lit up. "The F-22 Raptors. Only the top pilots in the world get that assignment. There are what, maybe 180 of you qualified to fly them." "Something like that," Michael said, his modesty genuine. Before Sarah could ask more, the captain's voice crackled through the cabin speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've been asked to hold our position for a few minutes due to nearby military training traffic." Outside, the sunlight caught 2 F-22s soaring above, gliding in perfect formation. They moved like mirrored reflections, effortless and synchronized. Passengers craned their necks to watch. David pressed against the glass again. "Dad, they look just like yours." An older man seated behind them leaned forward. "Son, did you say your father flew those?" "Les." "Sir," David answered proudly. "He's really good too. He's got medals and everything." Michael's cheeks flushed. "That's enough, David." But curiosity spread quickly through the rows. Sarah leaned closer. "What was your call sign, Captain?" Michael hesitated. His call sign was something he rarely shared. It carried history, stories, and respect he never sought. But Sarah's sincerity and his son's eager eyes left him no graceful escape. "Phantom," he said quietly. The word rippled through the cabin like an echo. A man several rows ahead turned sharply, eyes wide. He looked like any other traveler. Casual shirt, calm demeanor. But there was something unmistakably military in the way he carried himself. "Did you just say Phantom?" he asked aloud. Sarah frowned slightly, puzzled. "Why? Is that important?" The man stood and made his way down the aisle. Major Tom Bradley, F-16 pilot, Shaw Air Force Base. He introduced himself, saluting lightly. "Sir, forgive me, but you're the Phantom. I've heard your name in every squadron I've served. The red flag missions, The combat drills over Syria. You're a legend. Whispers spread among nearby passengers. Michael shifted, clearly uncomfortable. Legends are stories. Major, I just did my job. Sarah turned to the major. What's red flag? It's the most realistic air combat training exercise in the world. Bradley explained. Phantom here still holds the record. 17 simulated kills in 5 days. No one's ever broken it. An elderly woman across the aisle gasped softly. You mean he's a hero? Michael shook his head gently. I'm no hero. The real heroes are the ones who didn't make it home. The cabin fell quiet. Even the usual hum of conversation seemed to pause in respect. Major Bradley took a seat nearby. If I may, sir, why'd you step away? Pilots of your caliber rarely do. Michael looked down at David, whose eyes were locked on him. Because my son lost his mother, he said softly. And I wasn't going to let him lose his father, too. Some things in life matter more than flying. Sarah closed her laptop completely, no longer a journalist chasing a story, but a woman witnessing something profound. That must have been an impossible decision, she said quietly. The hardest of my life. Michael admitted, flying was who I was. But this, he squeezed his son's hand. This is who I am. David smiled. I'm glad you came home, Dad. As the plane prepared for takeoff, the intercom chimed once more. Chabin crew, prepare for departure. Major Bradley stood, offering a firm handshake. It's been an honor, sir. If you ever want to teach again, I know plenty of pilots who'd be honored to learn from you. Michael smiled. Thank you, Major, but I think my teaching days have already begun. Sarah leaned over one last time. Mr. Torres, would you ever consider telling your story publicly, not the classified stuff, but about service, sacrifice, and being a father? The world could use voices like yours. Michael looked out the window as the plane lifted off, the F-22s glinting far in the distance. Maybe someday, he murmured. But right now, my mission is sitting right here beside me. David looked up, eyes shining. When I grow up, I want to be just like you. Michael smiled, then be kind, be honest, and always put family first. That's all that matters. As the clouds drifted past the window, Captain Michael Torres, the man once known as Phantom, realized that the bravest act of all wasn't flying into danger. It was choosing love over glory. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to Kindness Treasury. Every week, we share true and inspiring stories that remind us. Heroes are often the ones who simply choose kindness,